welcome to Business Growth School for Service Providers podcast. I'm your host Ali Salman, and this podcast is brought to you by Rapid Boost Marketing, online marketing for service providers. Are you a dentist, realtor, lawyer, accountant? Do you provide services locally? Then this podcast is for you. Here we share strategies, tricks, and techniques on how to generate more leads and sales using online marketing. Join us every day for 5 minutes and take away strategies which you can apply in your business. Hey guys, welcome to episode 231 of Business Growth School for Service Providers. Super excited to have you guys today. My name is Ali Salman. Today we are talking about how reviews impact your bottom line. We all know negative reviews does impact your bottom line, and how can you reply to them? Or how can you get rid of them? But ideas that how can you reply and deal with negative reviews, right? So we'll talk about that today. But before I go into that, right, let me go over the 4 critical numbers with you when it comes to reviews, right? So 24. If someone had a bad experience, right, with your business, they're going to go and tell on average of 24 people out there. So it does cost you a lot of money to provide a bad service. Also, if people had a good experience, they just go and tell to 15 people. So there's actually more people, right, share their negative experience than their positive experience, right? Okay. Another interesting stat is that 72% of us, right, we trust reviews as much as we trust our advice from relatives and friends, right? Okay. Also, 4 out of 5 basically people reverse their purchase decision. Yes, 4 out of 5 people reverse your purchase decision made on a negative review, right? Okay. There's another staggering stat. Each star basically, well, that's not a star, there you go, it's a star. Each star costs you around 9% of your top line revenue. Let's say if you have 3 stars versus 4 stars, potentially it is impacting 9% of your revenue. So basically, your online reputation, the reviews, right, what people read about you on Facebook, on Google, on Yelp, on all these websites, it does matter, right? Because if you're not looking after that, it's basically costing you money, right? So idea is that not only that you should know how to deal with negative reviews, in the first place you should have a lot of reviews, so when people do some credibility check before they do business with you, right, it's very, very critical that you have a lot of positive reviews about your service and about your products, because that's what earns people trust. That's what brings them in the door. That's what makes them do business with you, your business, right? Okay. I'm sure you read Google reviews. I'm sure you read Yelp reviews. You read Facebook reviews, right? So why don't you use it for your own business, right? So there are 2 critical things here, right? Okay. Number 1 thing, you have to make sure that you reply to every negative review. Now there are 2 things. Either that negative review is a legit thing, means that you made a mistake, something happened, and the person didn't have a good experience, right? Okay. The other scenario is that genuinely that review is basically a fake review. There's no customer with that name, you cannot recall, it's 100% right, you're sure that it's either a competition, either someone else is basically leaving you a bad review. So this here is basically a tip that every website, every third-party website, Yelp, Facebook, Google, Dealer Rater, Lawyer Rater, there's industry specific websites. There are basically mainstream websites. They all have a process to get the review removed. Go and take a look at that process. And usually if you can prove that this customer is not your customer, most of the times they'll basically end up removing that review, right? So there is a process to get your negative reviews removed. Just go and look for them. Every platform has a process to get the negative review removed, and as long as you can prove it, they will basically going to get rid of it. Now let's say that it did happen. Customer came to your business, they had a bad experience, right? And They just went online and they left you a bad review. The best thing you can do as a business owner, right, is basically own the mistake. Say that, like, you know what? We all know as business owners and humans, we all make mistakes, right? So owning to a mistake actually, like, earns your potential and future customers' trust. Right, because you know what, I'll ask you this thing too. Before you do a business, right, like, before you give your business to someone, to a realtor, to an accountant, to just going to a restaurant, right, buying a $5 thing, buying a $10 thing, or buying a $5,000 service, right, okay, go and read the reviews, right? And when you read the reviews, it could be that they have negative reviews, but you also look at how the business have answered those negative reviews. Does the business cares or not? Does the business basically, like, as I say, gives a shit about its customers or not, right? Okay. And if you see that business cares about your customers, right? Okay. Because you know what? Out of 100 customers, 5 of them, 10 of them, maybe in some cases 15% of them might have not the best experience, right? Okay, and that happens in every business. But as a business owner, you have to make sure that, like, when people leave a negative review, right, and especially when it has happened, own to that mistake. Make sure that, like, tell in that review that you will improve. You will make sure that, like, you will try to fix this problem so potential customers don't face it, right? What I have done is I basically, like, enclosed an example of 2 restaurant reviews, very nasty reviews, right, in the show notes, which you guys can go and access it. Also, I've enclosed an example of, like, video of how basically a restaurant, like, head chef also replied to negative review, showing that they care. They really care about the customer's business. Another example in the show notes is basically about, like, a bar is basically turning a negative review into more like a fun thing, right? So there's a lot of ways to deal with a negative review, especially if you genuinely have screwed up or it has happened at your business, right? On the other hand, if that customer, you can prove that that customer is a competitor or someone is just trying to leave you a fake review, then 90% of the time that review basically will be get removed from the website, right? Okay, but remember these numbers, right? Okay, 24 people, more people go out and tell people about their bad experiences than a positive ones, right? Okay, and especially there's opportunity, especially when you reach out to people who had a negative experience. They went out and left a negative experience. A lot of times they go back and they change their review. They go back and they say, hey, you know what, this was my original review, this is my proper new review, and, like, they fixed it. They basically, like, cared about me as a customer, right? So a lot of people will basically go back and change their bad review contingent to how you deal with them, right? So make sure that you're looking after your reputation online, because you know what, if people Google you, if people check you out on Facebook, if people find you out on Yelp or any other website and you don't have a good reputation, ask yourself, will you do a business with a business owner or a business who doesn't have a good reputation, who doesn't have good reviews, who doesn't have, like, customers raving about them? Of course, you don't want to make that mistake. You don't want to make that $5 mistake or $5,000 mistake or $20,000 mistake, right? So the idea is that make sure that you deal with your negative reviews and turn them into an opportunity so you can even earn trust from your potential customers, but also turn those negative reviews into positive reviews. Have a good day, guys. Make it count. Hope you have a good day. Bye-bye. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you want to listen to previous episodes, go to rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. Again, I'll repeat that, rapidboostmarketing.com/grow. I'll catch you tomorrow bright and early with another business growth lesson. Have a good day. Take care. Bye-bye.